The hidden battle in your brain. Imagine standing at a crossroads, trying to decide between two paths. One path is clear, smooth, and feels right instantly. The other requires deep thought, careful analysis, and maybe even a little hesitation. Which one do you take? Now think about this. How many decisions do you make every day without realizing why you made them? Are you really in control, or is something else pulling the strings? We all like to think we're rational, logical beings. But what if I told you that most of the choices you make aren't really your choices? What if your brain is secretly working against you? Stick around, because today we're diving into how your mind truly works, and by the end, you'll never look at decision-making the same way again. Every day, you make hundreds, maybe even thousands of decisions. From what to eat for breakfast to whether to take a new job, these choices shape your life. But here's the kicker. Many of them aren't made with careful thought. Instead, they're dictated by mental shortcuts, habits, and biases you don't even realize you have. Understanding how your brain operates is like having a secret cheat code for life. It helps you avoid bad decisions, make smarter choices, and even recognize when you're being manipulated by marketers, politicians, or even your own emotions. So let's break it down and explore the key lessons that will change the way you think. If forever, the lessons you need to know. The two systems that run your life. Your brain operates in two modes, fast and slow. System 1, fast thinking, is automatic, emotional, and effortless. It's what helps you recognize a friend's face instantly or dodge a ball without thinking. System 2, slow thinking, is deliberate, logical, and requires effort. It's what you use when solving a math problem or planning a trip. The problem? System 1 runs most of your life, and while it's great for quick reactions, it's also full of biases and errors. Recognizing when to switch to System 2 is a game changer. Think about a time when you made an impulse purchase. Maybe you saw an ad for a limited time offer and bought something you didn't really need. That was System 1 in action. But if you had paused to analyze whether the purchase aligned with your long-term goals, System 2 would have kicked in and possibly saved you money. Your brain loves shortcuts, even when they're wrong. Ever wondered why people overestimate the danger of plane crashes but underestimate the risks of driving? That's the availability heuristic. Our brain judges things based on how easily examples come to mind. More media coverage, greater perceived risk, or take the anchoring effect. The first number you hear in a negotiation sets the stage, even if it's completely random. Ever seen a sale? Was $500, now $250 tag. That $500 was likely never real. It's just an anchor to make you think you're getting a deal. A real-world example of anchoring: a friend of mine recently negotiated a car purchase. The dealer initially quoted an absurdly high price, knowing that when they generously lowered it later, my friend would feel like they were getting a bargain. They weren't. The real price was still higher than what they should have paid, but the anchoring effect made it seem like a steal. 3. We're terrible at predicting the future. We all like to think we know what's going to happen next, but we really don't. The planning fallacy is why projects always take longer and cost more than expected. Think of how many times you've underestimated how long something would take. Writing an essay, finishing a work project, or even getting ready for an event. A company I worked with once planned a product launch. The CEO was confident it would take 6 months. I asked, how long did similar projects take in the past? The answer, closer to a year. Yet they still believed this time would be different. Spoiler, it wasn't. They fell into the planning fallacy just like so many of us do. Losses feel worse than gains. Imagine you find $50 on the ground. Feels good, right? Now imagine losing $50. That sting is way worse than the joy of finding money. That's loss aversion, and it controls more of your life than you realize. People are more likely to avoid losses than chase gains, which can make them overly cautious in investing, careers, and even relationships. Ever had a friend stay in a bad job or relationship just because they've already invested too much time? That's loss aversion at work. Instead of cutting their losses and moving on, they cling to something that no longer benefits them. How you frame a problem changes everything. Would you rather take a treatment with a 90% survival rate or one with a 10% mortality rate? They mean the same thing, but one sounds way scarier. This is the framing effect, and it's why marketers and politicians carefully choose their words to influence your decisions. I once saw a restaurant advertise their burger as 80% lean instead of 20% fat. Same burger, but people preferred the one that sounded healthier. Perception is everything. How this plays out in real life. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine was once deciding between two job offers. One paid more up front but had no benefits. The other had a slightly lower salary but included bonuses, stock options and health insurance. Initially, he was fixated on the salary alone because System 1 made it seem like the most important factor. But after stepping back, engaging System 2 and crunching the numbers, he realized the second job was actually the better long-term choice. How many times have you made a quick decision based on surface-level information only to regret it later? That's your brain playing tricks on you. This is why it's so important to slow down when making important decisions. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss insights like this. What you can do right now, pause before big decisions. Ask yourself, am I using System 1 or System 2? If it's a major choice, slow down, watch out for biases. The next time you see a scary news story or a marketing gimmick, question it, reframe. Problems. Instead of focusing on losses, think about potential gains. Practice thinking in probabilities. Don't assume something is certain. Consider different possible outcomes. At the end of the day, understanding how your mind works gives you control over your decisions. Most of the time, we're running on autopilot, letting System 1 take the wheel. But by recognizing when to engage System 2, we can avoid bad choices, spot manipulation, and think more clearly. So the next time you're faced with a big decision, whether it's financial, personal, or professional, ask yourself, am I thinking fast or slow? The answer might just change your life. If you found this insightful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening content on how to master your mind and your decisions.